morning of the lift out. It's grey, it's raining, it's still humid, there's still lots of bugs. I've taken the mizzen sail off the boom and the stack packs so I can lift the boom up at almost parallel with the mast, because apparently the gantry on the back of the crane is going to get in the way. If the boom's underneath it, they can't lift me high enough. So that's all done, taking all the fenders in because apparently they don't want any fenders, and I have lifted the dinghy up on deck and I'm just sat here waiting. But they said they're going to assist me and apparently going to send a boat out which might help tow the bow around or tow the stern around. Hopefully it'll all go smoothly. So the boat was lifted out of the water at about 3 o'clock this afternoon and it's still in the sling, which is really sort of irregular. It's stiflingly hot, it must be 37 degrees in here, and tomorrow's going to be about 5 degrees warmer. Yeah, I think this session in the boatyard might be a real challenge. Okay, it's the first morning in the yard here at Tidewater. I'm still in the sling. I haven't heard anything else about what they're going to do with the boat, so I'm just going to carry on regardless. I haven't got time to mess around because I need to get these two Scehawks out, order the parts, and then have time to hopefully fit them before I set off to New York to sail back with the other boat. So this is the situation. The access panel is only big enough to sort of get your body through. That's the front end of the engine, and then down there you can just see it, this gate valve here. As you can see, the pipe work is fairly corroded. I think it's all good, but the problem is the gate valves don't close and they leak through their stems. So these valves, depending on, like, if you open them all the way, that it starts to trickle seawater into the bilge. There's another one there. They would get us across the Atlantic back again, but I've got this time to kill, and the parts are actually cheaper here in the US, so it would be silly not to do it. So today's been another long, sweaty day in the engine room. I've just been running antifreeze through the freshwater system, and then just a sort of glycol-based one through the raw water system, because apparently it gets really cold here in the winter, and because we're not going to be back again, it's probably worthwhile doing it. And then also I'm taking out the injectors because I noticed a slight oily sheen on the water sometimes behind the boat, and a lot of soot on the transom. I don't think it's from oil, I think it's from too much diesel going in, which would suggest perhaps that the injectors are, I don't know if it'll pick that up with this light, but they're pretty gunked up. The ends are supposed to be a clean sort of pin, shiny pin shape, so I would think the spray pattern's all over the place, and could mean that some of the fuel's not getting burnt in the cylinders and then gets blown out the exhaust mixed with the cooling water, and that's what gives you this sheen and the smoke. It's like a white smoke, it's not a blue smoke, so blue smoke is when you need to worry because that's oil usually. So I've got 2 more to pull out. I'm looking forward to getting out of here because it's a bit hot and sweaty. Yeah, I've seen prettier injectors anyway. So one bonus to having the injectors out just before you leave the boat stored for as long as we're going to leave it, is you can add a little bit of oil into the cylinders, not too much, but, and then you crank over the cylinder just by hand, not with the starter. This is all from the Perkins winterization procedure. Oops. That one must be all the way up, that was a bit much in that one.
So another thing I've done is remove the impeller. Partly because again Perkins said to do so, and partly because it's not up for a service yet. It should have 100 hours or so left on it, but as I've done it, I don't know if you can see that on there, but they're yeah, several blades mangled and some actually missing. There's enough of a chunk missing there that I think I'm going to have to go looking for it, because it's not in the pump. It's gone up the pipe and then across into the heat exchanger, which on this engine is almost impossible to get to take apart. But I can't face it at the minute. I've got enough other things to do, so it's going to wait until I come back if I do anything about it. It probably broke off a long time ago, and it's probably been in there and it's not done any harm so far, so maybe we live with it. But it's not a perfect scenario. Anyway, I'm getting out of here, it's too hot. That's pretty good.
Okay, so today is the Friday before the Monday that I leave the boat. I've got all of the sails to take off, fold up and stow away, and then I've got to try and rig up these tarpaulins, which are hopefully going to keep the snow off. I've been told by the guy next door that a lot of people here use this shrink wrap stuff, and it's really good, but I don't know, I might find that I don't ever reuse my tarpaulins, but it seems like a waste because you have to cut off the plastic once you put it on there, and then the end of the season comes and you want to use your boat again, you have to cut off the plastic, and it's not reusable. I've kind of chosen to go with tarps that I hope I can use at least once more, if not a few times more. It's just going to take me a bit longer, and I'm going to struggle, I think, to make it strong enough to keep the snow off, because apparently they get quite heavy snowfall here. So that's my task for today, amongst a bit more painting in the bilge and hopefully fitting my big new valves.
As soon as I hit that, it's going to fall down, isn't it?
This is impossible.
Fuck! This is ridiculous, Ben. Everything today's been a pain in the ass.
So now I'm just doing the last anti-freezing job, which is to run some antifreeze through the drinking water system, so our pipes don't split and the hot water tank doesn't split. So I'm using this freeze band stuff, which is sort of odourless, tasteless, and so say, you know, not toxic in any way, but will stop the pipes freezing. So if we turn on the fresh water pump, so I've just got to run that stuff through it until it comes out all the taps, because the problem is there's no way of draining down every single piece of water in the pipes, and when it's in anything hard like a UV steriliser, it will smash the bulb inside and destroy it completely. So you've got to make sure it's full of this pink stuff. You get through quite a lot of it, it's quite wasteful, but wow, it's so hot. This is a really hot weekend. I've been really suffering, and I've just been lent a power cable or pigtail, which I needed to get the power to the boat, by Jeff in the marina office. He's been a great help. It means I can have a fan running. So honestly, it's made about, I don't know, it's knocked the temperature down from about 32 to about 28. I can manage 28. So I just went to get some crackers out of the cupboard, and I found this little message.
So this is it, everything stowed away, packed up, the hatches closed, all the water mopped out of the bilges, galley cleaned, cooker cleaned, freezers and fridges emptied and cleaned, everything off. And this is the way Bora Bora will remain now for over 10 months. It's quite sad, really. It's been our home for over 3 years now, and yeah, I feel quite sad to leave.
Finally a lever all wrapped up. Hopefully weather tight enough. It's compromise between letting some air get through her and keeping the snow off. I've left the solar panels out and they're all connected and switched on still, so I just taped across them and left them down, and hopefully that'll keep the batteries trickle charged. So welcome to Scehawk. This is a Sigma 41 and a boat I'm crewing on back to Ireland across the Atlantic. I'll just give you a quick show around the boat so you can see what sort of layout is. So it's dark in here, but forward cabin, nice size. Big hatch, but it's covered with the dinghy at the minute. Forward heads, but it's going to be our wet weather gear lock, and we're not going to use that toilet. Then we got Martin's bunk on this side. Loads of food stored underneath, spare parts behind the side, more food. And then the sofa, which is going to stay converted into a double bunk just in case it gets too comfortable in the front. Again, that's completely full of food underneath, behind, tools and spares behind that side. We've got our galley where we're going to be doing a lot of cooking and rolling around. Aft heads, which is the only one we'll be using on the passage. Nav station, and then I'm very lucky they've given me the little aft cabin, probably the best cabin on the boat, so I'm very grateful. Got my own little mirror, and I got 2 lockers there and there to put my stuff in. And the best thing is I have my own hatch that leads out in the cockpit, so I can keep an ear on what's going on and get some fresh air. So this is my first evening on Scehawk, and we're just putting the sail back on because they've had a repair to do the boom. The gooseneck fitting was a bit worn out, so they're repairing that, and we've got the most awesome sunset. Look at that. Sailing over Manhattan, where we're going to be tomorrow for 4th of July.